Who's starting?
Hi,
Hi,
good
everybody.
afternoon, everyone. My name is Joanna Trelove. Thank you for joining us on Speak Easy with Love. I'm really pretty excited to share with you the infamous Debbie McKee, holistic wellness practitioner and energy healer, and Dr. Nikita, who is a doctor of naturopath, to help us really get centered in how to share with you the amazing roller coasters that one can be uplifted and soaring up and down and from our hormones and some of the balances and imbalances that we endure during that lovely part of life we call the change. So without further ado, I'm going to share this center with these two lovely, beautiful souls and have them introduce themselves and share with you a little bit about how the body, mind, and soul connection and focusing has really been something that has influenced, where they gravitate and how they find their centering through different changes in our body. So Dr. Nikita, why don't you go ahead and get us started by introducing a little bit about yourself and where you're from.
Yeah, hi, I'm Dr. Nikita Patel. I'm a naturopathic doctor, a mind-body healer, and a shaman in training. And I love everything energy-related, crystals, ascension, spiritual healing. Very intrigued by it, and mysticism. But I practice naturopathic medicine to heal the body through the mind, through the healing the emotions. And also becoming aware that our energy can also be healed to see the healing in the body. So I do all of it, treating the whole person, using herbs and nutrients, and recommending appropriate diet, lifestyle, as well as diving deep within to see, okay, what's really going on at the mental emotional for healing.
Peeling those layers, getting to the root of things. It's so important and often less, acknowledged. Oftentimes I find that a lot of people really stay on the surface overall, and it creates, a lot of treated symptoms, but never really gets to the whole and the root of what's causing those systems, to behave in certain ways, energetically, emotionally, physically. And so I really respect and honor your work tremendously. I'm on the path myself to become a doctor of naturopath, and it's been my longest life goal. But yet I find peace with this long-term goal because I know it's just such a inner work calling. So I really appreciate that. Debbie, why don't you share with us your path and your why?
All right. Well, right on. You're very similar to what I do too. I call myself a crystal healer. I'm a healer, but a healer of many things, and of course, body, soul, mind, and spirit. And it does go very, very deep. But yeah, what's your diet? What's your lifestyle? And then emotionally, what are you holding? And what can you release? And can you release it again and again and again, and then I go deep into past lives and things that we get frustrated with in our past lives that come back again. And then we get frustrated again, or we release it again, and it takes layers and layers of work. And on this journey of self-healing, absolutely, I'm on that path. I'm of service to the better of humanity. That's definitely my gig. I work with crystals very largely. I've been studying them for a good 25 years and writing and teaching about them for about, 18 or so. I write for a lot of magazines and publications, all kinds of stuff. But it never really stops when you're learning, right? When you're on this journey. So, and then on the path of what we're talking about with menopause and the change, I believe it's a big blooming. We're blooming into our future self and our more higher self. And that is super exciting. And I'm of the age, and I have hopped through this journey organically, completely organically. And that's why I was really glad to be able to come here and talk today. So. There you go.
Yeah, and that's a great way of approaching, the change, menopause, because it definitely feels like there's something that is changing within. I mean, I'm in it. I'm in the thick of it personally right now here as we speak, and there might be a hot flash coming on right now.
Got your fan handy?
I do feel as frustrated as sometimes I can feel in the complexity of it all. As I peel my layers and allow myself to release naturally, whether that might be emotions or moving through it physically, altering some of the things that I'm eating on purpose with intention for that guidance, as I detox and as I need fulfillment in my nutrition and supplementation, I can feel the bloom. It's not as beautiful and graceful as I'd expected it to be.
But no, it's ungraceful.
Nonetheless, there are those moments where I personally feel a breakthrough, either in something that I'm feeling internally or externally, emotionally, vibrationally, energetically. It's felt, and it's definitely noticed. I do have a one great question to start this topic with. Why do we call it menopause? Anyone know?
You're pausing your menstruation. Isn't that what it is? I don't know. I just threw that out.
I do not know.
Well, you guys just blurred together. That was weird. I know it's like, to me, it's like because you're not on your moon cycle anymore and shedding every month, you hold that in. So that energy has to go somewhere. But there's also knowledge that gets held too, so you're not as drained. It just takes a few years to get through it. Oh, I got really tiny.
Trying to play with our screens and see if we can.
I like that. That's good.
We like this one?
Or that one. Or that one.
That one feels good too. like Charlie's Angels right here.
That was kind of fun.
So, what do you think? Let's just start with mind, okay? What is happening mentally within our mind during these times of our life? Let's talk about how hormones are affecting our brain chemistry, our brain focus, and even how emotions are, ever changing in the mind during this time in our life. How exactly would you describe that unfolding, and what can you share that would be beneficial for us to all leave with in knowing and understanding the process a little more profoundly? Dr. Nikita, would you please share with us on that?
I don't think of it that way. Like, how do the hormones affect the mind? I think of it as how the mind affects the hormones.
Ooh.
Not the other way
that's
around.
cool.
Okay, so go from there. Thank you for that reframe.
It's what begins in the mind. So the way I've seen menopause and understood it as, I have followed Kristen Northrop's work. She's written a lot on menopause and what it actually is happening within a body, and I really resonate with that. So with that, I would say it's already there in the mind. So all the symptoms that are experienced during menopause, all the hormonal imbalances that are experienced during menopause, it was there in the subconscious, like in the body, sitting in the back burner, because our bodies in the reproductive age, and we want to create babies, and we don't have time to focus a lot on this healing work.
Yeah.
So it's in the back burner, but as soon as our body's like, oh, we're done reproducing, it comes back. The mind, our body starts showing us the imbalance through the hormones, and the less we listen to the subtleties of this, the more the stronger it's going to get, the symptoms, and we're faced to really pay attention to it. And our tendency is to fight it. Like, how do I fix it? How do I get rid of it? How do I suppress it? And that's exactly what will push it down, and it'll come back even stronger.
So what you're suggesting is to not try to fix it, just let it unfold.
Yes, not fix it, but embrace it, unfold it. And yes, in doing that, the right herb, the right medicine, the right diet will show up with ease. It doesn't have to be a battle.
Yes.
Okay, so what do you suggest, like when someone is emotional and tired and brain fog and laughing and crying? I may or may not be asking for a friend. I don't know. I'm just saying. What would you say to all that? Someone comes to you and says, please, I need support. Here's what I'm experiencing.
Yeah, I would listen to what's going on. Being heard is the first medicine that I offer.
Nice.
And that's very healing, especially for the emotions, because a lot of times it feels like we're doing something wrong. Like, I shouldn't be feeling this way,
Yeah.
something is wrong with me. Well, love, nothing is wrong with you. It's okay to feel this way. It's just how your body's processing these things. And then we come into this flow of like, okay, it's okay. So we're not building on we're not fighting what's already happening. Now we're accepting, okay, this is what's happening. And we're going deeper. Like, okay, what else has been happening in your life? And there's always something that connects the dots. Like, there are always things that happened in the past connecting dots. So it always goes back to
a old-fashioned dose of share therapy.
Huh?
A good old-fashioned dose of share therapy.
Yeah.
And
asking the right questions to go deeper as well, because I truly strongly believe that the healing we seek is within us. And that's what my goal is, always to get all my patients to. So once we have that, I do recommend herbs to support that work that we did during our session. Here are the herbs, here are the foods that you can eat. During menopause, I look at the estrogen, the progesterone. Usually the estrogen is very low, the progesterone is very low, the FSH, LH, the two hormones are checked to confirm menopause. They're usually very high. And the estrogen starts going down during menopause, and we want to support that because low estrogen causes dryness in the body, weakness in the bones associated with osteoporosis, a lot of dryness, vaginal dryness as well, drying of the skin. So we want to nurture and nourish the body with food to support our hormones as well.
And what type of food specifically would you suggest during that for those remedies?
I suggest phytoestrogenic foods. So phytoestrogens are plant estrogens. They're weaker forms of estrogens, so they don't have very strong effect on our body. There are 3 different types of estrogens that we look at. Of course, there are breakdowns of estrogens at multiple pathways, but there are 3 that we look at. And of the 3, one binds strongly, one binds weakly, and one's like in the middle. So phytoestrogen is like a weak binder, so it keeps it from binding to a bad estrogen, which we don't want our receptors binding to. Yes. So we can get pretty nitty-gritty with this.
And that is something that's going to help detox the negative estrogen, right? And it's going to promote that positive estrogen. Okay. That's really interesting. When I first learned this, it was kind of explained to me like we have good and bad cholesterol, and we want to promote the good cholesterol and remove some of the negative. And when I looked at it, I didn't really know there was 2 kinds. So could you explain to us what the difference is and why we would want to do that and how those affects us when there's the good and the bad and a dominance of estrogen in one way and not the other?
Well, it's also subtle. It's all super subtle. And as you go through the years, it's like a little of this and a little of that. And you have to keep adjusting yourself, right? I thought every couple months you had to readjust. So if you keep a journal of what's going on, Well, I reacted this way for 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
That's a great suggestion. Keep a journal.
Yeah, health journal is great. That would be more if you're feeling very sensitive to what you're eating. That's when I would have someone journal. For
But the
someone
more
who,
sensitive you are in your body and
yeah,
how much you feel everything, that's to me how you navigate through the change, is those little things and those little bitty hopes of shifts give you hope so that you can get through it, the next month or the next 2 months or whatever drama's going on in your family that you're going to hype out on.
Well, and it's really, I am hearing so many powerful expressions of words. And, I know that we're talking about food and our hormones right now, but more than anything, what I'm hearing is like, be aware of your sensitivities, pay attention to your thoughts and understand and let things unfold. And I think that vibrationally and emotionally, when we're able to allow that to happen versus control and resist that expression, it can be very lightening for us, versus that weight that weighs us down when we're unable to do that. But I also noticed that, it's not as easy to do when you're in a relationship, because when we're not
like, you're crazy.
when we're not fed with that same support system, it can really cause a backup. And I know that I've personally experienced that. I've just recently heard more times than I needed to. Oh, you're going to blame this on your hormones?
Yeah.
And I remember that feeling in my heart, and it was almost like, ooh, wow, that hurt. That I think that just hearing, that hurt. And I think that when you're in your body and you're in your mind, your soul, your expression of you, it can be challenging, right? At times you can feel a lot of surges, a lot of flooding of energy. And when you're trying to express that to someone else, it's not always the easiest thing to just let happen, And when you're not supported in those feels, that can feel even more like, what is wrong with me? And
Sure.
I'm sure that I've listened to women more times over, the years, even before I came to this space in my life, that really felt out of control and unsupported. And I'm just wondering what it is that each of you offer to women when they're going through this change that can be really supportive across the board. And, if there's something specific that you would love to share. Debbie, would you like to start with that?
Sure. Well, I feel like the main thing about going through the change, it's like being pregnant going backwards. So in our monthly cycle, how sensitive are you, and how that changes every 8 years or so. And so you do have a kind of a buildup going on. Our society has told us to go to a regular doctor, and you go to a regular doctor, they're going to go, take this pill. But there really isn't one pill that's going to make it all shift. So I believe, yeah, and all this whole encompassing thing. Now, as far as crystals go for this, there's definitely a pattern that works. It's hematite, carnelian. There's about 5 that I would use on your ovaries and your whole uterine area to calm it, to cool it, to regulate it. And then the more you'll be able to do that, it'll keep you from getting fibroids or having the doctor want to rip out your uterus, or building any cancers in there, because that can happen during this time if you don't know how to balance it. And yeah, lending an ear. So I offer people to talk as long as they need before a session so they can get those words, I like to say, out of their belly and out of their ears and out of their head. So then we can get to the nitty gritty, because they could say one thing and their body says something else. So if they can get their words out and relax and talk, and safe space here in my studio here, it helps a lot. But as far as the crystals go, there's definitely a plan. Um, and then I go through very deep energy work and very deep past life work. And if there's any karmic stories or, plans they've written with other people, so we can calm those down so you can navigate through this time that does take a few years that nobody talks about. It takes a few years, folks.
Yeah.
And if you have a women's circle of any sort or a women's group that you can talk to and share stories, because that's when I learned about a lot of things. Like one dear friend of mine, she goes, "Oh yeah, when I was going through my flooding years." I'm like, "Flooding years? What's that?" Not everybody gets that, but a lot do. And I've never read that anywhere, and I certainly didn't get it from my mama or grandma or great grandma. So there's definitely some patterns, yeah, that I offer.
And would you, when you're finished sharing, would you go ahead and write in the comments those crystals that you suggest for everyone to learn about? That'd be great. Sure. Dr. Nikita, what about you? What kind of gems would you like to share with us that would be great supports during this time?
Phew. Okay, so I forgot your original question because I was so into listening to Debbie.
So the question was, as we all go through this in life, I'm sure that you have women, just desperately, what can I do? What sound advice would you give to another goddess as she's blooming? And, specific things maybe on treatments or, like Debbie shared with us, how healing crystals are. Is there anything specific that you really feel help influence the bloom process and let that, goddess unleash gracefully and peacefully?
Yeah, I would say the first thing is nothing is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. You are not hormonal. Well, hashtag, what's that? Like, it's like hormonal B word or hormonal.
I hate the B word. I don't like the B word. I don't like use it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's suggesting we're horrible creatures.
It's there. So many people get that word, like hormonal B. I've never accepted the idea of like, oh, you're hormonal, that's why you're acting this way. Like, it's such a disrespect to me, to a goddess. Like, hey, you're feeling this way and you're being told that it's because something is wrong with you internally and you have no control over it. I would say I have learned, I'm 31. I'm not into, I'm very far. Menopause is a little far away for me, but I have had symptoms of menopause because I'm very sensitive and my body just, when I went through medical school, I pretty much felt like I had all the diseases that I learned.
I naturally do that too. You're like, how can I fix that?
And it was pretty scary. But after I graduated and I came out, I was like, oh, okay, that was just me being sensitive and really about it and manifesting it in my body. But I would say, every month when the hormones for people who are menstruating, so I'm applying this to, during menopause, is the hormones that are imbalanced, the emotions, they are reflecting what was already there.
Yeah.
They're amplified. They're just amplified. So the body's like, hey, look, this is what we're holding on to. Can we look at this and not judge ourselves and not take these rude, disrespectful judgments as well?
Yeah.
So I would say this is your body amplifying all these hormonal shifts. It was always there, and now you're ready to give it more attention. And your body truly loves you. Your body truly loves you.
So when you talk about things that are amplified, what specifically are you referring to?
Amplified would be symptoms and emotions
The highs and the lows. When you get really, really mad, when you get really, really happy, get really, really sad, you go more. And you know, you just got to ride it. You have to ride it. So if you have a mate that won't criticize you for it and go, oh, here she goes. I mean, that's why men used to be in the barn with their guy friends playing air guitar, you know, and girls were in the kitchen, or we had our red tent where we could go and like power it out. But yeah.
So what you're saying is that these emotional, emotional energies that are within us that are things that have manifested way before what's going on right now are just coming to a head. They're amplifying in this moment, giving us an opportunity to shed, to release, to let go, to purge. And now, you know, those of us that don't, is that what is manifesting in things like disease and cancers? And, you know, when we hear
right. That's my understanding.
What's happening?
That's my understanding. It's like the more we don't pay attention to our body, the more it's going to start becoming louder.
It's going to start become a little thing, a little ball. I see the middle of every cancer, a ball of red. So it's anger, frustration, hatred, suppression. It's all emotional. So if we can pick all these through every month and during this time, during the change, then you're going to be free and smooth and soft and gorgeous, you know, until you're 80, whatever. So, right?
Yeah, totally. And then I also want to point out, you know, prevention is great. When we prevent, we don't know what we're preventing. So we don't know. But sometimes even when we prevent, we may have a physical illness. And that illness would be like 10 times less than what it actually would have been.
Right.
Initially, if we didn't prevent.
It's softer.
Yeah.
Softer.
If it was like, it was like 100%, it would be like 10%.
We have a question from one of our guests that are watching today. And the question is, what is the difference between menopause and premenopause?
I don't know. It's all right. I think it's all right. I mean, you know the technical version of it, right?
It really is all right. So these are technical words. Perimenopause is the time before menopause is diagnosed. So perimenopause is that 1 year of no period, or that time where the period is not really in flow. It's coming maybe every 3 months. It's light, but there's still a period. And menopause starts when there's no period for 1 year. Then you're diagnosed as menopause.
Yeah, I never got a diagnosis ever on any level, but I had a teenager going through puberty.
Right.
I'm going, yes. I never had a year where nothing happened. It all just kind of kept going and got louder until it was white.
What do we suggest? You know, like we hear, so for instance, bioidenticals. What can you tell us about a bioidentical hormone? And perhaps different supplements that we can take to support this process.
So I don't prescribe bioidentical hormones. I don't study it. It's not my expertise. My expertise is really working on the mind-body medicine for hormones.
Okay.
Right.
There are bioidentical hormones. These are estrogens, progesterones to support the body. So I've seen these, I think 0.1% progesterone creams to support with the menopausal symptoms. The estrogen also works, taking low dose estrogen to really support the body. But I would say, although one may feel good, we're not taking this opportunity to really purge.
Right.
So we're just treating the symptom and we're going to feel good. You know, Band-Aid always feels good, but at a certain point, it's going to come out. And
right, just prolongs it to come out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Of course, there's a relief, and that's great.
But you still got to ride it eventually, right?
That grace comes from sitting with all the swampiness that we feel.
Swampiness.
Like really love ourselves. Like, hey, I know it feels all yucky to feel this way, but I want to start loving you. And that, what I find, is the true healer.
And you start birthing your new you, and the birth, the whole birth journey is gnarly, and it is sticky and it is gooey, but at the end you become this new goddess. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't support the bioidenticals either. I have plenty of clients and friends who are on them, and even into their 70s they keep taking it because they're afraid to go off them. And yeah, they do look younger, but they're afraid to go off them. And to me, I feel like that's a big buildup, and you're messing with your natural quite a bit. And
well, let's talk about this. So, what is the purpose of estrogen? What does estrogen do, and what happens when we stop producing estrogen?
You can go for that one.
All right. Like I said earlier, estrogen. We need estrogen for healthy bones. Estrogen is a nurturing, nourishing hormone. We don't want it to be too much. When it's too much, our body is compensating for something. When it's too little, that's usually what happens during menopause. And I don't have too much insight of what's happening when it's too little, but according to Ayurvedic medicine, which is what I also incorporate.
Nice.
Age, there are 3 doshas in Ayurvedic medicine, constitutions that we're born into. And then there are constitutions that are same constitutions are given to the season, same constitutions given to different sets of age. So when we're born, we're in the Kapha constitution, where it's, I would say the when I think of Kapha, I think of mucus.
Water.
So water. So it's water and earth. And kids are growing, they get sick. There's a lot of mucus. They're always like sick with cold because their immune system is learning the environment.
Yeah.
And also releasing the things that they don't need in their body.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows up as mucus. So then the teenage years into adulthood is pitta, which is heat.
Oh, heat. Pitta.
Pitta, yeah, pitta. So it's heat and water. Water. And that's acne, that's like pitta, heartburn, stress.
Stubborn.
I think she said heartburn, not stubborn.
Yeah, but stubborn there too. That's a form of anger, right? There's a lot of anger, passion.
I believe something else.
And then there's Vata, right? Which is like air, and where you're dreaming.
Vata. So,
Vata.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Vata is
air. V-I-T-A? V-I-T-A? How do we spell it? V-A-T-A.
Vat. I'm giving you the pronunciation in English, but it's Kapha, Pitta, and Vata. Vat is Vata, V-A-T-A, is air, and ether. Ether is the space, the spiritual space, the mystic space. It's not something our mind can comprehend, basically. But it's air is mind, thoughts. And old age is Vata. Vata governs the bones and the colon. So a lot of dryness, a lot of air in the body, because it dries the body. And that's physiologically, that's low estrogen. A lot of thoughts.
Right. So when we take the time to be with those thoughts, we're feeding and supporting and nurturing versus trying to just get rid of and stop it from happening. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And so because this is a Vata imbalance, an overall imbalance of Vata, we want to nurture our body with foods that are more Vata pacifying, Vata balancing. So a lot of fatty foods are good. Healthy fats, not deep fried fats, healthy fats, like
healthy fats,
nuts, flax seeds, chia seeds. Yeah, to really nurture our body, our bones, and a lifestyle that's slowed down, more mindful, because Vata is like do. it's not do, it's like think like it's all over the place. Vata's like all over the place. As someone whose constitution, so we also have a constitution we're born with, and someone whose constitution is Vata, they're more prone to anxiety because there are too many thoughts. They're always in their head. It's hard for them to be in their body. They're not very grounded easily. They would usually be taller than most people.
Vata Pitta, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Me too. So very in the mind.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also these constitutions are associated with different time frames of the age, and the old age is Vata. So I also look at that, and if someone is like Vata constitution and they're also going through menopause, then we really hone in on the lifestyle and the diet according to the Ayurvedic medicine.
Yeah, very good, very good. So let's talk about progesterone. What is the goal? Like, what is progesterone, and why do we need it, and what happens to our body during this change with our progesterone levels?
Wow. Whew. Okay, let me think. Progesterone. Okay, yeah. When I think of progesterone is needed to create thickening in our uterus to prepare for a baby. It creates thickening in our uterine wall to create the environment to make babies. And then even during pregnancy, the progesterone will go up. We need progesterone for reproduction. And I actually don't know, aside from that, why we need progesterone. What I look at is the balance between estrogen and progesterone. Yeah. And we want it to be balanced. If there's like too much progesterone, then it can. What are you showing, Debbie?
Balance. It's the Shiva Lingam.
Oh, okay.
That's the balance.
Okay. Yeah. So you're right. Balancing. The balancing is very important. Sometimes the progesterone is good and the estrogen is too high. So there's estrogen dominance. Sometimes the progesterone is low, but the estrogen is good. Even then, there would be estrogen dominance. But sometimes the estrogen is good and the progesterone can be high. I rarely see that. It's usually the estrogen issue. Body's very conservative when it comes to doing things with progesterone or making more progesterone. But
can't that cause cancer if you have too much progesterone? I mean, if you add in progesterone, can't that cause cancer balls?
Usually estrogen that we have looked at, the cancers, usually breast cancers that are sensitive to estrogen.
Okay.
They're estrogen positive. However, there's conflicting research also that says that it's not really due to estrogen, because there are also these bad estrogen and good estrogen. So it could be, if someone has bad estrogen and their body's not metabolizing the bad estrogen out, then it can create oxidative damage in the DNA, leading to the formation of cancer.
And this is what you just said is a really great conversation that I'd like to just kind of open up a little more. You had used a word called metabolizing. Mm-hmm. So for those of us that may or may not understand what that means, what does metabolizing estrogen mean? How does the word metabolizing and estrogen pay respect to each other in that same sentence?
So this is a medical term, I believe, is when we use the word metabolism. We're actually talking about the breakdown of estrogen.
And how do we do that? Do we do that from our diet? Do we do that from something that's going on in our circulation? Do we do that energetically? How is maybe perhaps start with just defining what metabolize means and how and what a breakdown of metabolizing estrogen could perhaps look like, if you could share with us in detail.
Okay. Metabolize means you're changing one thing to another. You're metabolizing. So when we metabolize the food we use into energy, we're converting all the nutrients into energy, ATP, and we are using ATP for the energy that we have right now.
Yep.
So that's a type of metabolism, is converting one thing into another. Switching the chemistry of one molecule, one enzyme or protein or neurotransmitter or a fatty hormone into something else. So the activity of it is different. Okay? Estrogen metabolism, I don't know the pathway by memory, but estrogen metabolism is when we have the estrogen, all hormones come from cholesterol. Okay, all hormones come from cholesterol. We need cholesterol in our body. It's a fatty, all hormones are fat. So we end up making, we have cholesterol, then we make pregnenolone, which is the mother hormone. From pregnenolone, we make cholesterol, testosterone, progesterone, estrogen, and the estrogen, once it's made, we're using it. The whole body needs it. We don't understand exactly how the body's making use of these estrogens, but we have receptors in our body and we use it. So once the work of the estrogen is done, we need to get rid of it. Our body needs to get rid of it. And when I use the word metabolism, I'm using it in this context to refer to how our body needs to get rid of it. So our body doesn't just take it and dump it into our gut or into our urine. It has to convert it into a water-soluble form because it's fat. It needs to convert it into a water-soluble form or into a form that can be excreted out in the gut with the bile. So that would be fat-soluble. And the liver does that. So it's the detoxification is here interchanged with metabolism, but it needs to be converted into a form that can be excreted out. When we have issue with metabolism of estrogen, it's usually when we don't have certain nutrients to support the breaking down of the estrogen, and so the estrogen gets stuck, and it gets recycled in our body, and we don't need it, but it stays in the body, and we don't need it. So when we support
Go ahead.
the metabolizing pathways, then it can naturally remove the excess estrogen out of our body. Most people need help with the metabolism part, not necessarily fixing the too much or too little of the hormones by taking more or removing it, but really supporting the metabolism.
Yeah, and so what I'm immediately picking up on is the words like support and absorption. And that kind of takes me back to a sweet spot of nutrition and understanding how the foods that we're eating are going to help us absorb certain nutrition, feed healthy cholesterol levels, and then help us use that in converting in the body so that once it travels into the liver, it's optimally used and then excretes what it doesn't. However, if diet is not right and we don't have that proper gut health, and we're not feeding an environment that's really going to host all this absorption and all this beautiful chemistry that is converting and doing its job, it's just going to get stuck. And that's how we create those dominances and imbalances. And so that there really, leads me to that idle space of, let's talk about gut health. Let's talk about, how our nutrition is feeding our balances and, our overall well-being, whether it's during our cycles, our blooming phase of change, and or, just our day-to-day function. So what do you have to share about gut health and nutrition? And this is an open question for either one of you that can just jump right in on.
Well, I feel like it was, it took quite a few years to really figure it out because, like I said, it changes kind of constantly. And so you kind of try to stay ahead of it, or you just try this for a while. What gives you more sweats during this? Like red wine would give me more sweats, but I couldn't ever drink anything harder than that because it would make you sweat even more and make you really, really sick and really, really tired. So you had to mellow that out and drink more water and more coconut water. There was a lot of little subtle things. I went very much into the herbal route with valerian and black cohosh and those
What is
that and primrose, evening primrose that really help you mellow out your hormones and stay a little more stable and eventually sleep, because it interrupts your sleep completely, and then you're really cranky, and it was just this thing. So there's a lot of herbs you can take that are super subtle, but if you take them regularly,
evening primrose for relaxing,
primrose, black cohosh, and valerian. And in the very beginning,
wait, I'm writing this down. Black
cohosh, COHOSH. COHOSH.
Okay.
And valerian.
What does that do?
They help your mood. They help your heat, because you're too hot. You have too much chi, and so it helps mellow it down. And valerian, but in the very beginning, like my first VAL, valerian.
VALERIAN.
It's right here.
Okay, got it. And what does that do?
Valerian. In my first year, I could take one black cohosh and it would mellow me to like stupidity for 4 days. So I could only take like one every week and a half. Now I can take one when because my mind is like fully back now, and I get too much brain now. So I can only take one every couple days, and it's like when you take melatonin, and you can't take it all the time, but it can trigger your system back down to mellow out, that sort of thing.
That's those are great little tips. And what is the valerian? What does that support?
Well, they kind of all work together. Valerian, black cohosh. I just did melatonin once a month.
I'll tell you, it's a muscle relaxant.
Okay.
So it's really good to help your body relax and help your mind relax, so you're not in a constant state of anxiety. So it's
like magnesium, same.
Yeah, valerian is mostly used for mood support and around anxiety. It's supposed to be very calming, and it's used for insomnia as well.
Yeah. L-theanine is a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Is another good one that works with those well. Theanine, L-theanine. I got this one. This is the only one box. I remember buying it and hiding it when I went to the counter. It was just, it was like, no, that's not for me,
I know.
And there's like a day pack you can take and the night pack, and it has all those exact things in it. So I eventually started buying mine separate and break it down. I'm hypersensitive, so just one a week until if you need them like every day when it gets intense, because your periods get really, really heavy. Some people, their periods just sort of gradually goes off and stops all gracefully. And others, you think you're just going to die because you're bleeding so heavy. So.
And do you think that the bleeding, like when people are taking bioidenticals or hormone therapy, that is promoting their menstrual cycle or helping stop it? Or do you have any control over it?
Neither one of us know about it much.
What was the question? Are we talking about bioidentical hormones?
Bioidenticals.
Yeah. So we have
receptive?
Yeah. So if people are taking a bioidentical or hormone therapy, something of that nature, is that promoting their menstrual cycle, or is it demoting it, or do we have any control over it?
It's more about balancing your.
Go ahead. Yeah. Are you referring to perimenopausal, menopausal?
Yeah. Like if someone is, in both. Like I work with a lot of women, and I hear a lot of different things that they're doing between like using the pellets or bioidenticals or different forms of hormone therapy. And I know personally, when I'm working with my naturopath, she suggests doing bioidenticals to make sure that I'm getting my cycle more
regularly.
And my feeling is, well, if it's going to stop, let it stop. Why are we trying to make it happen? And she's like, no, you don't necessarily want to make it stop. It's not a bad thing. It's good for you. So I guess these questions are, what is what, or is it just different for everyone? Is it truly
It's
just
absolutely different for everyone? But I feel like I remember my acupuncturist. She's like, oh, but when you have your cycle, you have so much more energy. Now, I don't think I have any less energy. I think I have more energy now that once it stops, because it's literally all that blood redistributing in your body, and you have all this chi still. I mean,
Yeah.
what do you think, Nikita?
With the hormones, that's
Well, having your period stop or having it keep going.
yeah. So it depends on what you choose to believe. If one believes that, it's more important to have the cycles, your body's continuously producing the hormones to nourish your bones, nourish your skin, nourish your body, and many other ways that we don't understand, then yeah, that totally makes sense. But
what we choose, what we're choosing to believe.
Yeah.
That's powerful. That's really powerful.
Can I tell you my little when mine ended story?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'm a Cancer sign, astrological sign of Cancer. I'm totally affected by the moon every single time. I didn't realize it till, like, I don't know, 20 something years ago. I was journaling, and I would get like so upset, and the full moon, and why is this, and why is everybody like that, and my boss sucks, and it was 3 days before every full moon. I went through the exact same thing. I'm like, oh. So then I started getting by myself during the full moon and working with that full moon energy and being on my patio by myself and feeling it and talking to it. So at the end, when my cycle was getting so heavy and it was really stripping me, and I was kind of anemic anyway. So when you go through the end, you get super anemic. And I came down to this one time, and I was frustrated with the moon going, hey man, if we're so in sync, we could stop this, can't we? I am done, moon. Stop this. And I swear that was it. That was it. I get goosebumps. That was the next one. It's like boop, boop, nothing. And then, because I used to feel like if I looked the moon in the eye, my period would start, And so finally at the end, when I had just had it, and your period can get longer and longer, like 9 days, and you're just like, oh, I'm gonna die, And so I begged the moon for it to stop, and she helped me stop it. So I know that sounds really fruity and crazy, but I tell you, if you feel that moon, and I know you do, Joanna, I'm sure you do, Miss Nikki.
Yeah, tomorrow's full moon.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know it's in Virgo right now. It's like, go do things.
Oh, right. I thought he was in Aquarius.
Leo. It's Leo.
It's Leo. Oh, Venus is in Virgo right now. So.
Okay.
That gets me too.
It said that we're in Leo, which is an era of a space of self-love and self-centering.
Today's the first day of Leo. Yep. But anyway, that's my end story. That was pretty glorious, and I feel like I really had a hand in that energetically. So.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that, because I definitely feel the moon energy, and my cycle has always been with the moon as well. So I can really, really attest to what you are saying. I haven't tried asking the moon to end things, but
you can wait a couple years.
We're gonna have a good talk about that.
When you get excited, you can get a hot flash. So, but it is muggy.
Yeah,
I got all excited. God.
So, the hot flashes, what causes them?
Well, I think it's, you can get excited. Absolutely. You can eat too much or not enough. Someone can anger you. That can bring them on. But to me, I always felt like it was the food mostly. But like right now, or when you have this big event and you plan for it and you're getting ready for it and you got your shoes and your hair and everything's good. And then you get to the event and then you just start, I'm going to say this, sweating balls. You're just sweating and you're like, everything just melts. You're so disappointed. So I think your anticipation can bring on a hot flash too. Yeah, I feel like it's your body going backwards with your hormones. You're going backwards, so it has to go somewhere. So it has to shoot out your pores. That's just my Debbie speak. That's not technical, but that's what I think.
Yeah, I'll
But
tell
there
you
are
the
other-
technical. But
Okay.
personally, I see that hot flush is an energy release.
Yeah.
Your body's releasing energy.
It's got to go somewhere. Yeah.
I'm sure there are times in everyone's lives when it's been a rough day, high stress day, and by the time you go to sleep, you feel a sense of heat in the body as you're trying to relax, or there's too much heat in the body. That's related to anxiety and insomnia because the body temperature is not dropping, because our body's not releasing this energy. But with with menopause, it like just happens. You have no control over it. You can't suppress it anymore.
Yeah, it's hard. I swam for about 4 hours yesterday, and I slept so good last night and didn't get hot. So there's definitely, I feel like we have to cool ourselves down. Just cooling thoughts, cooling energy, cooling for about 4 years. So,
And
go ahead,
I know, when I experience a hot flash, it's always in the like hour or two before I'm awakening. So
Yeah.
I feel the heat happen while I'm laying in bed, and all of a sudden I'm soaking wet. And I just literally get up. My sheets are wet. My clothes, I'm soaked. And so I sometimes can understand them during the day, but I'm more prone to have this great awareness, especially during the hours of when I'm sleeping. And I can't quite understand. I thought maybe that was a drop in estrogen or a drop in a certain chemical that just got real low. And that's what just, made my homeostasis, imbalanced.
Or your kidneys and gallbladder and spleen and all those are processing everything you ate the night before. I think it's also when the sun is in the energy and the planet is shifting, and you absolutely wake up with that. Like way before the sun comes up, and when it's on its way up, I feel like that's when they come on too.
So that's exactly when our cortisol goes up. Our cortisol goes up a few hours before we wake up. So when we wake up, we feel refreshed. Technically what's happening with hot flush is the hypothalamus, which is the temperature thermostat of our body, is out of balance. And we don't know why. It's associated with hormones, but it's out of balance. And it's just having a hard time regulating temperature.
Can I show you some crystals for that?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So number one, I would do fluorite. This is I think this is the most cooling crystal you can use. I'm pretty sure you have some, Joanna. You probably do too. They're just pretty. It's purple. Sorry, I'm in the middle screen here. It's purple. This is the banded one, so it's purple, blue, and white. Here's a little baby one. Woo.
Yeah.
And then there's these, the decahedron ones. They're little like diamonds. These are easier to keep in your bed, and they won't crack. It's good to put them in your pillow, absolutely, or meditate with them on your forehead. There's the purple one.
Is that
pardon? No, it's fluoride.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a chunk of one. But this one would probably be the best for you because you can go, oh Lordy.
Yeah.
Put it straight on your head. The bigger they are like that, you can. Oh, I take them to the dentist too because I get so nervous at the dentist. And
I find that peppermint is an incredible essential oil that really cools.
Mm-hmm.
And lavender will slow that thymus down a little bit. And
yeah, you want to pay attention to what time at night you're having the hot flash. That's consistent.
It's always that hour before I wake.
So what time is it? Is it?
So about 5 in the morning.
5 in the morning. Okay.
Between 5 and 6.
Between 5 and 6. Okay. Yeah. So that would be. There is also a Chinese calendar.
Yeah.
Hormones. What Debbie was talking about. I don't know much about Chinese medicine. I only know the liver time, which is 3 a.m.
Yeah.
There are different times associated with different processing of the energy that happens in our body.
Yeah, 11, 12, 1, 2.
Just like Debbie said, you want to look at that to see what's going on here, what is my body processing, and how can I support it. So, I'm not just blindsided by it every morning.
Right, and then make a note what you ate the night before if you had a shot of tequila before bed or something, that's going to make you really warm that morning. But if you do green tea or coconut water or a bucket of water, you shouldn't be as sweaty. But, just look at it as you're just shedding the last 40 years. You're just shedding the last 40 years. You're just sweating it out. So if you need towels, do towels. It's okay.
Well, and this is a great question. So I've noticed that since I have been really leaning into it and allowing this process to bloom, as Debbie says so gracefully. I love that word. I'm going to use that more. I noticed that my weight, I'm starting to lose weight, and I'm happy to always, shed what is unneeded. But it's indifferent from what I've always learned, because I've always heard that women, when they're going through this change, they gain weight. So, and so I feel like I'm going in the opposite direction. What do you make on that? Is it common for women to gain weight or lose weight? And if they're gaining weight, why? Why does that occur during these changes of our life?
I got a lot of opinions about that one. This is my favorite book about menopause. It's The Wise Woman's Way Through Menopause. It goes on and on about all the herbs and the oils and everything, and our diet and our sleep and taking time off. But most people, I would say, in general, gain. Like, I gained a good 20, and I don't gain more than like 5 pounds ever. So, but I was super stressed. Mom died, daughter graduated. It was a lot of stuff. But even in this book, is why I brought it up, they suggest you gain.
What is the name of it again?
Pardon?
What is the name of the book again?
It's Menopause Years, The Wise Woman Way. It's so good. But they suggest you gain 10 pounds because it is so hard on your system, and you're going like this all the time. And why am I feeling this? Why am I feeling that? And, oh, I'm so exhausted. Oh, I'm so sweaty. I'm so tired. I can't sleep. And so gaining a little bit of weight gives you a little bit of cushion to get through that. And then it does come off at the end. Like mine came off. So, and I was really glad. I'm still a little square, but.
And what is your thought about that, Dr. Ankita?
Yeah. So I think I wanted to speak on something you had asked earlier about treating the gut also. So I would just want to put it out there. In naturopathic medicine, we say if you don't know anything, because if someone is presenting with so many complications, so much going on, if you don't know where to start, not knowing. If you don't know where to start with the hole in the middle.
Yes.
The gut, the hole in the middle. Because when our gut is healthy, even in Ayurvedic medicine, which is traditional Indian medicine, when the gut is healthy, the body is going to be healthy. When we're absorbing nutrients, processing, eliminating toxins from the body, things are going to be much better for the body. And so many illnesses will just naturally heal itself over time. Anyhow, so that was that. Treat the hole in the middle.
Yeah, I totally skipped over the gut stuff. I'm sorry.
That's okay. And then the second question that you asked me about why is it you losing weight this time? Well, according to Ayurvedic medicine, hormonal imbalances are associated with vata imbalance, because vata is too much dryness. Hormones need nurture, moist, fattiness. So we don't have that enough energy of earth and water. And when the hormones are out of balance, the body's going to gain weight to try to balance these energies. Right? You want to balance the earth, the water, with the too much of the air and ether. Our bodies will always find a way to balance. And sometimes the balance looks like an illness, but it's just our body's way of keeping us alive, survive, stay balanced. Good balance, bad balance, but balanced. So for you, when you're sitting with yourself, when you're sitting with your emotions, you're grounding. You're grounding into your body. Your body doesn't need to hold on to that weight anymore. You're naturally providing your body with earth and water by paying attention to what you're feeling, to your emotions. You're no longer out of your body, out of your head and your thoughts.
Well, and go ahead.
I was just saying that this brings me to this topic of spiritual bypassing, we can so easily go out of our body, not feel what's in our body, and constantly seek these high vibration feelings. And then when we come out of it, we are, when we're left alone with ourselves, it feels terrible and lonely and it sucks. And then we go out seeking for another ecstasy. Yeah.
Oh my.
Well, when I say ecstasy, I mean just a sense of feeling good.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And what I do find myself experiencing as I become more and more okay with what I'm feeling and okay with the expression of myself and my truth is that I feel a lot more centered and a lot more grounded at a lighter weight, just naturally. So it's just I always feel imbalanced when I've added something on that literally feels like I haven't let go. So energetically, I notice the difference, and everything that we're sharing is so serendipitous to really what I'm feeling in this bloom. But more than anything, I've learned that the shedding is uniquely developing as I release. And I notice that it's more than just having my cycle or not. I'm noticing that I'm pushing things in my life energetically, emotionally, doing a cleanse of my inner circle and the people that I'm surrounding myself with, really cleansing my support systems and advancing in that inter-body instead of out-of-body experience, but in a very grounded sensation that is helping me identify more and more of who am I, and what does that mean and feel, and to be that without, but to be that also without defending and trying to make right or wrong, but just being. And
it's a process. It's a process journey, one step at a time, until we leave this body. It never ends.
It's true.
Yeah, it really is. It's a journey of letting go.
And better. It gets sweeter and sweeter and sweeter. Yeah.
And I think the wisdom that we behold in those spaces of knowing are truly what unleashes that goddess within us all, and frees us to many senses, giving us just this limitless exuberance, and one that I'm becoming as I bloom more and more each day. Namaste, right?
It's a gift, right? It is such a gift that your body's like, hey, look, there's this place where so much of you is yet to bloom. And you're like, whoa, I thought I had it all, but there's more?
Yes, but wait, there's more. So on that note, if there were one thing that you could share, just to really leave all the ladies with a sense and sensibility of what we're sharing today, what would you want them to know and to more or less feel and remember you and the significance of this conversation of? Debbie, why don't you go ahead and start with that?
I would like to say, because no one talks about this hardly at all. I mean, I've had classes and just no one shows because they're like, oh no, I'm not in menopause. But it's like there's this whole new you at the end of this. And, if you never felt like you were a goddess, you definitely do once your cycle stops and menopause stops, and your brain fog clears and you start feeling vital again, and you definitely become a stronger soul, a stronger woman. And I embrace the word crone because that's, mother maiden crone. I embrace that because I'm a healer. And to me, it's like absolute wise woman. You become a wise woman at the end of this. And then you start life all over again like you're 20. And then you get to do a whole nother thing, whatever your thing is. And you have so much strength to do it. It's super exciting. And nobody ever talks about that part, like, oh, you're going through menopause, you're getting old, that's it. Oh no. This is like we just start getting going. And I don't know why I mean, I am like surrounded by 70-year-olds right now, and they're like the most amazing women. And they know so much, but they're so excited and their brain is so sharp. So the big thing I believe is that you become an even better, incredible woman at the end of this. So I want to say
That's wonderful. Dr. Nikita?
Beautiful. Yeah, I would say just go back to you. Put your hands over your heart and check in with your body. Hey, body, taking a deep breath. I'm here and I'm ready to receive all that I feel. As much as I don't like it, as uncomfortable as this feels, I'm ready to be here and love you just the way you are right now. That's self-love. That's the greatest healer of all. Self-love. And it's simple, sounds very simple, but it does require practice because we didn't grow up in an environment that taught us self-love. So we have to practice this every day, make it into a habit, and you'll notice that so much of you just wants to be loved and heard and understood throughout this and shine bright. This is all about this journey of like, how can we shine this light that was once suppressed, maybe not in you, but maybe in your ancestors or, an experience of your soul in the past life, as Debbie had mentioned. But this is a journey of shining brighter, blooming. And it starts with self-love. You're okay. Nothing is wrong with you. You're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that is a beautiful, I'm just going to write all that down. Nothing is wrong with you. That's a great way to end this. And I think a perfect place to just set an intention and to shine our lights on all the beautiful souls that are going to be receiving a little bit of us today. And just know that everyone that is going to tune in is going to tap in and turn on to their highest vibration and really access some of our light and resources. So I just want to say thank you so much for showing up to share. I would love to continue this conversation again with you and just continue to enhance some of these topics. I think it's a really incredible space for women to share and to shine. And if that feels good with you, I'd love to invite both of you back and we'll talk about maybe finding some time to do that. I have a feeling that this is going to be a really powerful journey for all. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and close our eyes. Debbie, you have shared a prayer circle with me before, so I know that you know how to take it from here. But Dr. Nikita, what we do is I'll just start sharing an intention, and then I'll pass it off to Debbie, and then she'll pass it to you, and you just let whatever is downloading or coming through you in that moment be shown and heard. And we will do that with great intention for love and for mercy and for kindness and for the intention and the gift of receiving for ourselves and all those that are ready. So let us take a deep breath in and just close our eyes and radiate that light with a commitment and conviction to just be our truest and most authentic selves. As we breathe into that beautiful space, I would like to invite all of our angels and ascended masters to surround us and gift us with their presence and their support, to host a beautiful space of love for healing and for learning. And in that next breath, let us all receive what we need to be gifted with our callings and to receive all the ingredients that we need to be used as that vessel for greatness. May we receive to nourish, but also shed to let go of, so that we can fill up with more of what is needed for that self-fulfillment and empowerment. And as I use my next breath, I exhale and give it to Debbie so that she may continue this prayer and intention.
And I'd like to call on a few goddess deities such as Kuan Yin and Lakshmi and Mother Mary, which are the female goddesses of helping you learn these balances of giving and receiving and relaxing and loving yourself. I'd like to pull in a rose quartz, which is the pinkest of all the pinks that help you learn how to love yourself more and accept for others to love you more and to take care of yourself a little deeper. And an orange selenite here to roll on our uterus and our ovaries and our tired little fallopian tubes and our whole lower belly region to as it goes through this trauma of exiting the birthing years to the resting years and creative years. A beautiful, soft, peachy orange and a soft pink of rose quartz. So I'd like to bathe us in that from above our heads, down our shoulders, down our elbows, down our hips, past our knees, down into our feet, and down to Mama Earth. To feel all that beautiful calm and balance. And one more, the little Shiva Lingam that helps us balance our yin and our yang, our male and our female, which is what we really learn on this journey. And let's take a deep breath with all of those colors. And let that air bathe us on the outside and the inside to relax our minds. And I'll pass it on to Dr. Nikita.
Thank you. I invite you to come into your body, into this present moment. Feel the bottom of your feet. As I invite Mother Earth, the spirit of Mother Earth, Pachamama, to be with you, love you, and nurture you so much. And I call in this sense of safety and security as you come into your body to be with this ebb and flow of nature, that which Mother Earth represents, to be at ease with this ebb and flow. You take in a deep belly breath all the way down to your uterus. Breathe it out through your mouth. Mother Earth is loving and nurturing you, and it is safe. You are safe now to be in your body, to feel what you feel, and slowly unwind and relax your shoulders. So be it. Thank you.
So it is. May peace be with each and every one of you. And as we open our eyes into this new light, in this new moment, let us see the beauty that we speak so beautifully within our hearts. Thank you, Debbie, and thank you, Dr. Nikita, for shining your light and sharing your wisdom. I so appreciate you and so love you. Thank you. Be well. May peace be with you. Thank you for speaking easy with love with me today. And thank you all for tuning in, tapping in, and turning on to your highest vibration in love. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye.